we are welcome. Merry Christmas. All that stuff. So today is a usual Christmas
No,
thing. Now, most of it relies on Martin pressing buttons and bringing up things and so on. He's really in charge of this one. So you're going to have to be patient between the different segments because he'll have to find it and remember how to do it. So it's lovely to see you all. Vic and Sheila Gammon send their regards. They can't be here.
Excuse me, can I just interrupt to say, Martin, you haven't muted everybody.
That's a good start. Have you muted everybody?
Several people seem to unmute themselves again afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
So shall I just mute? No, I won't mute everybody again.
Oh,
but can you please mute yourself if you haven't done so?
Everybody who is not muted, you must mute. Okay, back to where we were. So the parish notices, the next of these meetings will be on January the 7th, which is still in the sort of Christmas period, really, isn't it? And then we won't have one in February because we've got the Broadside Day. And then, so the one after that, the next of these Zoom meetings is the 17th of March. St. Patrick's Day, I'm told. So maybe there's a theme there. And then in April, 6th of April, we've got an in-person all-day conference in Stowmarket in Suffolk, jointly with the East Anglian traditional music people. I've forgotten their official name. But anyway, you know the people in East Anglia, the traditional music people. So that's the 6th of April. So that's enough to keep you busy for the next few months. So we're going to start today with roundup of newish books. Some of them actually aren't this year, but they happen to have crossed my desk this year, so that's why they're in here. And before Derek jumps in and reminds us, a lot of them are reviewed in Folk Music Journal, either in the one that's just come out or they'll be in next year's journal. And if you haven't seen the journal, I encourage you to get hold of it because it's a very good one, I think, the one that's just come out. So Martin, are we ready for our books of the year? Although you're muted, so I don't know what you're saying.
Sian told me to mute myself. She thought I hadn't got anything to say. Can I just say that this, like last year, this is quite a challenging episode technically, so it's just possible things might go wrong again.
Yeah, of course not.
Mary had a little lamb, his fleece was white as snow, and everywhere that Mary went, the lamb was sure to go. It followed her of hill and dale, and fields where grass is blue. So now you know where Mary went, but tell me, do, where does Father Christmas go to in the summertime? Goosey, goosey, gander, wherever does he wander? Does he go with the ice and snow to some foreign clime? Oh, where does Father Christmas go to in the summertime? I used to know a servant girl, her name it was Maria. She got up late one morning and began to light the fire. She poured some benzene on the coals, believe me, it's the truth. Then struck a match to light it, and Maria went through the roof. But where does Father Christmas go to in the summertime? Goosey, goosey, gander, wherever does he wander? Does he go with the ice and snow to some foreign clime? Oh, where does Father Christmas go to in the summertime? Now Burglar Bill of Pentonville sat in his cell one day. He killed a dozen policemen, well, of course, that's what they say. They marched him to the scaffold, put a white cap on his head, then asked him if he'd like to speak. So Bill looked up and said, where does Father Christmas go to in the summertime? Goosey, goosey, gander, wherever does he wander? Does he go with the ice and snow to some foreign clime? Oh, where does Father Christmas go to in the summertime? Some men take their wives and kids to country lanes to roam. Some men go to Brighton and they leave their wives at home. Some go north and some go south and some go up the pole. The rich man's on the continent, but the poor man's on the dole. But where does Father Christmas go to in the summertime? Goosey, goosey gander, wherever does he wander? Does he go with the ice and snow to some foreign clime? Oh, where does Father Christmas go to in the summertime?
Well done, Martin. Thank you very much. We've listed the books, and Elaine will be, I think, circulating the details of the books if you're interested in them to everybody who's here. And we'll also do the same with the dates that I announced at the beginning, because I don't have time to type them into the chat. But Steve wanted to mention a book that we haven't mentioned before. Steve G.
Yeah, okay, I got the wrong idea completely. I thought people were, holding up books and talking about them, but obviously not. Anyway, very quickly, have you got me?
Yes, yes.
Okay. It's a self-published book, but it's a massive, great thing. Great tome, very heavy and very thick. It's got 400 pages or so. It's by a chap called Bob Ellis, and it's called Folk Tunes and Dances from the Yorkshire Dales. And it's absolutely, the research behind it is absolutely phenomenal. It's the detail on the different dance tunes. I know this is tunes, basically. It does mention songs here and there, but it's mainly tunes. And it goes into the biographies of all these sort of Dales musicians. It's all about the Yorkshire Dales and the dances and the musicians in the Yorkshire Dales. And it takes the tunes from the old tune books that from the area, but it relates every single tune to all the other old tune books, manuscript tune books around the country. So it's the research on that side of it and the biographies is absolutely phenomenal. It's available from the Hawes Museum of the Dales Countryside Museum in Hawes. That's Hawes. I just came by a copy by accident. I think it's probably about 20 something quid to buy it, but I highly recommend it as a piece of research. I mean, it's not my field really. I'm obviously, my field is the song histories, but the actual amount of information that's there. I mean, it's got things like sword dance songs and stuff like that in it as well. But absolutely phenomenal. That's enough. Okay.
Thank you, Steve. And
I'll post the details. I'll send them to Elaine.
Yeah. When I was looking for it, it's listed on Amazon as unavailable, which doesn't mean anything. But I got a copy from the author at Dales Tunes, or one word, dalestunes.org.uk, for £20.
All right.
So that's two places you can try it. I was going to say, if people want to do this, bring along some news or mention a book at any of our meetings, please do. We're always desperate to fill the time. So please feel free to come along and say things.
There's an email address for Bob Ellis on the back of the back cover of the book.
Yeah, that email address is out of date, Derek.
Oh, right.
I think it was actually published in 2022, but I'd certainly second all that Steve Garden said about it. It's fantastically researched and a really readable book.
So thanks, Steve. Thanks, everybody. We're going to move on to the quiz number 1, which was the traditional. It's not titles this time. It's the first lines or second lines or even third lines in some cases. If we can do it, here we go. That's good. But I think what we've done is put the answers up straight away rather than revealing them as we go along. Are we moving on?
Hold on.
Hold on. Yes, sorry, I wasn't trying to hurry you. I was just asking a question. And of course, you'll all be. The trouble is, all of this is straight out of my head. I didn't research any of it, so you may well know different versions. But they were brisk and bonny-o. I think that has to be the 7 Yellow Gypsies, Roud number 1. A handsome sailor came walking by, fair maid in her father's garden. Unto his comrade's bedchamber he goes, lakes of cold fish. Come riddle me all as one. Must be Lord Thomas, fair Eleanor. And they were black as black could be, the 3 crows, or the ravens, if you can put that. And she dressed herself in man's array, female highwayman. And she fell in love with her father's clerk, the cruel mother. There was a lady, something of York. My parents won't slight you for your lack of, I think it's kind. You might disagree, but what else could it be? She moved through the fair fields, dear mother. Henry, my son, without any seams or needlework, that's easy. Cambric shirt. One of the singers calls it cambric. I can't remember who it is. Next one, Martin. There you go. Just returned from the salt sea, demon lover. Sword and pistol by his side, frog went a courting. Said the wee boy, and still he stood. False night upon the road. And he came a courting of me, an outlandish knight. And I paid attention to what they did say. Dark-eyed sailor. Lovely tune, that one. And are there any more? Yes.
Yep.
She loved her old man dearly, but another man twice as well. Marrowbones. Until it doth run over, landlord fill the flowing bowl. We've gone back a bit.
Where are we?
Next one. Said the sailor to his true love, I am bound far away, pleasant and delightful. Our ship not far from land, the mermaid, the feathered wobbling songsters, bonny bunch of roses. I think that's probably it. Is that it? Yeah, that's right. So if you go back to the screen, you can go down to reactions and put thumbs up or put your hand up if you got all of them right. But we've got to be back on the main screen, Martin. That's it. There we go. Anybody got them all right? Steve's waving a hand, so he hasn't reacted. I can only see a few of you, so I'm going to presume you all got them right, so everybody gets a mince pie. There we go. Now, a late arrival on the quiz scene, Steve Woodbury, because there are many Steves on the call today, has put together a song using all those lines, which is exactly, we were talking about in the last meeting. Do you remember the Song of Songs that Barry O'Neill was talking about, where in the past people stitched together all, titles of songs and made a song? And Steve has done that very thing. And he emailed it to me privately, but I'm now putting him on the spot to say, are you going to read it to us, Steve?
Okay, well, this text was reconstructed from a damaged and disordered manuscript, but there will be a forthcoming paper to analyze its historical context and sociological significance, as well as the insights it provides into more widely known traditional ballads. And the tune has not been recovered, but a handsome sailor came walking by, a sword and pistol by his side. Unto his comrade's bedchamber he goes, and I paid attention to hear what they did say. I've just returned from the salt sea, said the sailor to his true love. I am bound far away, and our ship is not far from the land, until it doth run over. And he came a courting of me. My parents won't slight you for your lack of kind. She loved her old man dearly, but another man twice as well, said the wee boy. and still he stood. She dressed herself in man's array, without any seams or needlework, and she fell in love with her father's clerk, and they were brisk and bonny-o. The feathered warbling songsters, and they were black as black could be. Fields, dear mother, come riddle me all as one.
I think that's very good. You get a special mince pie for that. That was Steve. Thank you very much.
I haven't had a mince pie this year.
No, not yet. Blimey. You're very slow off the mark. Now the presentation. If Martin is ready for another battle with the
We'll see. You ready for me?
we're ready.
Oh, good.
Are you going to mention the AI and the illustrations?
No, I was going to keep that secret, Steve.
Oh, all right. I won't mention it then.
Okay. Are you all right?
Yeah.
Okay, well, when I was thinking about something to do for this Christmas meeting, when Steve said, "Oh God, we haven't got anything," I remembered a story song, a conte fable that a friend of mine used to perform when I was living in Devon. It's called Parson Brown's Sheep, though as I explored further, I found that it has many titles. It's also a lot older than I thought it might be. But first, let's give you a short version of the story, with some help from Sian, who's going to play the part of a cheeky young lad, despite the fact that she's only just saved herself from a very bad cold. So we'll see how we go. Right, here we go. Once there was a poor country family who had nothing to eat for Christmas. The parson of the parish kept a fine black sheep that he was planning to have for his Christmas dinner, and the boy went out to the woods singing,
"A Merry Christmas we can't keep, got no shoes upon my feet. We have got no pudding and meat for our Christmas dinner."
When he gets home, he discovers that his father's stolen and killed the parson's sheep. So the boy goes out again singing,
"A Merry Christmas we can keep, 'cause father's killed the parson's sheep. We will have both pudding and meat for our Christmas dinner."
But the parson's nearby and hears him singing his song and tells him that if he will sing it in church on Sunday, that he'll give him a suit of clothes and half a crown. The boy agrees, and on Sunday he goes to church. The parson says to the congregation, "This boy's going to sing a little song for you, and you must listen very carefully, for every word is true." And the boy sings,
"As I was walking out one day, I saw the parson dressed so gay. He and Molly were in the hay, a kissing and a cuddling."
The parson furiously denies that it's true, but the people are laughing so much that his denials are not heeded, and the boy runs off, singing as he goes.
"I have cheated Parson Brown of a suit of clothes and half a crown, telling everyone in town how he kissed young Molly."
Thank you, Sharp. Well, that's a cantiphone, a combination of song and text. And this was something of a précis, as much longer versions can be found in street literature. As I started to look at the history of the song, I discovered this paragraph in Notes and Queries from 1870. The writer, identified simply as T, had heard the song in Cheshire at the end of the 18th century and gave what he could recall. "Little Willie's gone to the wood, and so merrily he did sing. I saw the parson a-kissing my mother, but I wouldn't tell it for everything." "Thou'rt a liar, then," said the parson. "Thou shalt be whipped with a rod of birch. Thou shalt be put in the stocks tomorrow for telling so many lies of the church." Now, unfortunately for T, he was a century early for the internet, but I did have that advantage as I set off to see what else I could find, using some of the phrases from his text. The earliest version that I've found was an 18th century chapbook in the British Library collection, the Parson's Garland, from 1765, which contains the words of the Parson and the Boy. Now winter's coming in and Christmas is drawing near. We've nothing to eat or drink, yet we'll have some Christmas cheer. And then, should you wish, you can sing fa-la-la, etc. And it goes on, the parson has got a fat wether, as ever was fed with corn or grass. I'll put a crust of bread in my pocket and 'tice it to my house. So the father catches the parson's wether, which for those of you who don't have sheep is a castrated ram kept for its meat. So little Billy goes off to the wood to get some sticks to boil the mutton, and he's singing how his father has stolen the parson's fat wether. The parson overhears him and offers him a gown and a coat if he'll sing the song in church. Now little Billy is gone to church, and merrily he does sing, I catched the parson in bed with my mother, but I'll not tell for anything. Thou art a liar, says the parson. I never was at your house in my life, but once for a pennyworth of balm. And the song ends with the second of the two verses in Notes and Queries, where the parson threatens to punish the boy. Thou art a liar, says the parson. Thou shalt be whipped with a rod of birch, and thou shalt be put in the stocks tomorrow for telling such lies in the church. There are several versions to be found in print, including others dating back to the 18th century. Another early version is the Scottish The Parson's Fat Wedder. Though this starts in much the same, it ends differently as it goes. The parson is quite out of the parish, left behind him his church and wealth. The boy and his mother fed on the wedder, and every meal they drink his health. So we've so far had three different endings, with the parson going off in disgrace, the parson actually leaving the parish in disgrace here, and the parson getting his revenge on the boy. Well, the great majority of the broadside versions are from the 19th century, and here are a few examples. Now, whereas the 18th century versions that I've seen are all in plain verse and told in the third person, in the 19th century the cantifable form dominates, and the story is told in the first person. The most frequently used title is Parson Brown's Sheep, and the majority of examples are virtually identical. It looks to me as if the different printers were copying each other. In this example from William Pratt of Birmingham, the copyist has failed to transcribe the word but into his text. But I now realise that I had made some assumptions about the song, two in particular. First, that we're talking about the boy as being a youngster, and secondly, that the story about the parson romping in the hay with Molly was something that the boy had made up. I also realised that others may have been seeing the situation in that way immediately. I can be a bit innocent sometimes. If we were talking about a young man who'd found the parson and Molly canoodling, or worse, then we open up the possibility of a sequel, the answer to Parson Brown's Sheep. Though not found as frequently as the original story, this was issued by several English printers. The basis of the story is that the boy had really seen the parson and Molly together, and that the parson made a deal with the lad that he should marry her and make an honest woman of her. The parson would give Molly £300 and set the couple up in a great farm and stand godfather to their first child. Not perhaps the sort of offer we might expect from a clergyman, but the lad accepts and reports that he now has a lovely sweet-tempered wife, 2 smiling babes, and is in the possession of every blessing that there is. The Parson's sheep has been reported a number of times in the USA and Canada, and it appeared on broadsides like this example from H. de Marson of New York. Parson Brown continues to be popular in the USA and elsewhere, and in this it owes a lot to the performance of the piece by the large ensemble folk group the New Christy Minstrels, who were founded in 1961 and who recorded the piece in 1963. They were still performing as recently as last year with their founder, Randy Sparks, but I think that they may now have reached the end of the road. If you wanted to look for a recording of the Parson's Sheep on YouTube or Spotify, it's very likely that it'll be the New Christy Minstrels version that you'll see first, subtitled Our Christmas Dinner, since they've included it on at least 4 of their albums. It's interesting that their version, like the de Marson broadside, retains the half-crown in the currency of the reward. Only a few of the Victorian and Edwardian collectors owned up to having heard versions of the Parson's Sheep. It was recorded a few times after 1950 by the men with recording engines, and I'd like to play you the version that was recorded by Mike Yates from George Fradley of Derbyshire, which you can find on the Veteran CD, one of the best. He called it Feyther Stole the Parson's Sheep.
There was a little boy walking down the street one day, and he was singing at the top of the country lane, and he was singing at the top of his voice. And this is what he was singing. Me feyther stole a parson's sheep, and a Merry Christmas we will keep. Me feyther stole a parson's sheep, and I'll see out about it, and I'll see out about it. Well, he was overheard by the church warden, and this church warden said to him, "Hey, John, come here." He said, "Will you come to church on Sunday morning and sing that song for us?" He says, "Well, I can't come to church." He says, "I've got no clothes. I've got no Sunday clothes to come in. If you'll come and sing that song, I'll give you a suit of clothes." So, all right. So he went home, told his dad. His dad said, "You mustn't sing that." He says, "You'll have me sent quad." And little boy thought to himself, all right, and they was thinking about his new suit of clothes. Anyway, Sunday come, and by that time he got his new suit, new pair of shoes, and a hat. And off he went to church. It was something different for him. Anyway, during the certain time during the service, the parson said, "Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to call on a little boy to sing a song, and I want you to take note of everything he says, because it is the truth." Anyway, "Come on, Johnny." And Johnny went up and started. He says, "As I was walking out one day, Parson Grain was rather gay. I was romping Molly on the hay, and I tippled her upside down, sir, and I tippled her upside down, sir." He says, "Was his face red?" I said it was the truth, didn't he?
Okay, that's lovely. Other English singers who've been recorded performing the piece include Bob Arnold and Joe Hodgson. And in Scotland, Margaret Bennett and Tom McKean recorded a nice version in 1990 from Norman Kennedy, which you can hear on the Kister Riches site under the title The Minister's Sheep. If we look at the Victorian and Edwardian collectors, we find that George Gardner collected a version from Richard Hall of Itchen Abbas. And this version harks back to the 18th century texts like The Parson and the Boy, rather than the 19th century cantifable versions. Further west, the Devonshire folklorist Sarah Hewitt published a dialect version in her book The Peasant Speech of Devon in 1892. And this is a short cantifable, more like the 19th century broadside versions though presented in Devonshire dialect. But you might not be surprised if I conclude this scamper through the history of the song with Sabin Baring Gould. In one of his working notebooks, there is a version of Parson Brown. He reports that the first 3 verses were sent to him by his friend W.H.K. Wright, the head librarian in Plymouth and editor of the Western Antiquary. Baring Gould completed the song with fragments given to him by other people. There's also a tune in Volume 8 of the rough copy manuscript, probably noted by Frederick Bussell, and judging from the items surrounding it, it's likely to have been heard in the area north of Oakhampton in Devon, near Bussell's Devonshire parish of Exbourne. Beneath the collected version, Baring Gould has noted an improved version. The difference from the collected version is not great, but it was this that he published in his 1890 book, Old Country Life, in the chapter that deals with the country parson. Interestingly, it's that version from Old Country Life that was recorded by Russell Wortley from Bob Arnold in Oxfordshire in 1958. I'm going to sing Baring Gould's original collected version for you to pull this all together. There were a man in our town, and his name were Parson Brown, and he were of great renown, for he were a parson. Parson, he had got a sheep, Merry Christmas he would keep, whilst us hadn't got naught to eat for our Christmas dinner. Us have stole the parson's sheep, a Merry Christmas us'll keep, Parson'll neither dine nor sleep, for we'll eat his dinner. Us enjoyed our Christmas day, Parson preached and said, let's pray, but I'm a fasting saint, and you meet your wicked sinner. Cruel vexed were Parson Brown, hungry he in bed lay down, Parson less was soon our town, for why us had starved our parson. Telly, did he ever hear such a story true but queer, how 'twixt Christmas and New Year the flock had ate their parson? Now I suspect that Baring Gould relished making fun of his fellow clergymen. There are 2 other songs, Parson Hog and the Tithe Pig, that he included in Songs of the West, which are less respectful of his colleagues. So, thank you for your attention. There's quite a bit more work that could be done on this story, but that'll do for now. Thank you.
Thank you, Martin. And a special thanks for Sian and her rendering of the little boy. I thought that was very good. Do we have any? There's been lots of comments in the chat, which I couldn't keep up with. But does anybody want to say anything or ask a question? Is it always the same tune? Is it
Yes, usually, or a variation of it, except for the George Gardner version. That has its own tune.
Right. John Baxter.
I noticed that the response song had written on it encore verses, which I wonder if that implies it was a version written for the stage, because I don't know. This is I did find that there was a record of it being sung at, where is it now, Tugwell or something, by a professional singer at an evening's entertainment for people from the village. I expect there are lots of things like that. I just wondered whether you had any thoughts about who was singing it in the late 18th century.
I haven't come across any references to it having been sung on stage, but I have to confess I haven't done this in the depth that I might have done if I was being much more serious about it. I better own up, incidentally, due to Steve's comments at the beginning. The images at the start of the presentation were generated through AI.
So I thought, I mean, that is out. As far as I know, that's the first time that we've used AI in our presentations. And no doubt it won't be the last. Any more questions? Anybody else want to say anything about the sheep? No, no, no. Thank you, Martin. But the only sensible thing in today's session. We're moving on to quiz number 2, which Martin has put together, and I didn't get all of these. It's the sound one. You've got to identify the singer. And I think he pulled a fast one. They're not all British, is all I'll say. That's what threw me.
We do have an international audience.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Okay, let's.
But you have to listen carefully and write down the names of the singers.
Yes, okay. So, as Steve says, you'll get a short extract, maybe not a full verse. We'll see how we go, from each of a dozen singers. So just make a note of the name of the singer as you remember it. You've got your pen ready, Sham. Okay. Prepare for singer 1.
As I roved out on a May morning, and a May morning right early, I met me love upon the way, oh Lord, but she was early. And she sang little doodle, little doodle, little doodle dee, and she had landed dee, and she had landed dee, and she landed.
And singer 2.
Where's we where God sailing, 5 cold frosty nights, 5 cold frosty nights and 4 days. It was there we espied a lofty tall ship, she come bearing down on us brave boys.
And number 3.
3 gypsies came to our hall door, and oh, but they sang a bonny o. They sang so sweet and too complete, that they stole the height of our lady.
Number 4.
London City I took my way, it was up Cheapside I chanced to stray. When a fair pretty girl there I didn't meet, and with she Caesar then I didn't dream, for I was up to the rigs, down to the jigs, up to the rigs of London town.
Number 5.
On yonder hill stood young Maria, a jealous young lover stood by her side. When he heard her for to marry, oh no, my true love, too young, she cried.
Number 6.
As I was a-walking one fine summer's morning, the fields and the meadows, they look so green and gay, and the birds, they were singing so pleasantly a-dawning, so early in the morning at the break of the day.
Number 7.
The jolly roving tar Ships may come and ships may go as long as the sea doth roll. Each sailor lad's just like his daddy loves the flowing bowl. A trip ashore he does adore with a girl that's plump and round. When his mum is gone it's the same old song. Get up, Jack John, sit down. Come along, you jolly brave boys. There's lots of grog in the jar. Let's plow the briny ocean with my jolly roving car.
And number 8.
When first from sea I landed, I had a roving mind. I rambled undaunted, my true love to find. Then I met pretty Susan with her cheeks like the rose, and her skin was like the lilies fair, or the flower that grows.
Have a go at number 9.
We shepherds are the best of men that e'er trod English ground, and when we reach an alehouse, we value not a pound. We drinks our liquor freely, and pays before we go. For there's no ale on the wold where the stormy winds do blow. We drinks.
Number 10.
Oh, my true love was a sailor lad. He plowed the ocean deep and wide. He carried the Markle on his arm, and he brought these memories back to me.
Number 11.
What will become of England if things go on this way? There's many a thousand working men is starving day by day. He cannot find employment, for bread his children cry, and hundreds of these children they now lay in their graves.
And finally, number 12.
Here we come a-waddling among the leaves so green. Here we come a-waddling so far to be seen. Love and joy come to you waddling to you. Praise God, send you a happy new year.
Okay, I hope you all got them all right. So let's have a look at the answers. Are you ready? You'll have to mark your own and we'll have to trust you. Singer 1 was, of course, Sarah Maycomb. Singer 2, Sam Lana. Singer 3, Jeannie Robertson. Singer 4, Charlie Wills. Singer 5, Louis Fuller, one of my favourites. Singer 6, Jim Copper, the one on the right. Number 7, Lena Bourne Fish. Number 8, Angelo Dornan. Number 9, Fred Jordan, of course. Number 10, Caroline Hughes. 11, you'll all have got this one, Harry Cox. And number 12, George Dunn. So, how did you do?
You carrying on, or shall I speak?
You can carry on, Steve. Well, we can ask how many people got them all.
I mean, must admit, I got 10, if I remember rightly, when we tried it earlier on. I didn't get the Canadian American ones. Anybody else get 10 or above? 9 or above? I can only see half of you on the screen, so I don't know who's holding up your hands. Doc's
got 8.
Doc's got 8. Anybody else got 8?
Vic Smith got 9.
Vic got 9. He gets a mince pie then.
Brian got 8.
How many did Brian get?
8.
8.
If I'm counting his fingers correctly.
Yes, 8. Okay. Fair enough. Well done. That was really quite difficult, I found. Partly because I was listening to the singing rather than, you know what I mean? Especially things like Sarah Makeham. I mean, it's so magic when you hear it. You think, my God, that's wonderful. Steve, you've got your hand up. What's you got your hand up for? Oh, right. Okay.
Just saying 5.
You've got 5. Okay. Well, we'll ask you the same questions next year to test your memories, okay? So we are moving on to the video is the next thing. On our Christmas meetings like this, we always have a few midwinter, Christmassy, New Year customs films of. So what we got here, as you'll see in a minute, is something that's on YouTube, so you can watch it. This is the first 2 parts of a series that was called Here We Come a Wassailing, which was either 1977 or 1979, depending on which bits you look at on YouTube. And it was either BBC Bristol or BBC Wales, depending on which bits you look at. We're going to see the first 2 parts. It's written and produced by Colin Rose, narrated by John Tams. Albion Band, Ashley Hutchins were involved. So therefore, here is the government health warning. Take no notice of the commentary because it's all nonsense. It's all about peasant ancestors and pagans and all of that stuff. Just watch the film and listen to the actuality. At the end of this, Doc probably knows a lot more about this than I do, so maybe Doc will say something. But what we're going to see is the first 2 parts, I think. And we might show the rest of it at the January meeting, because that's still in the sort of Christmas period, January the 7th, unless we are inundated with presentations from other people. So if Martin can do the magic stuff.
Ash faggot burning is associated with the Saxons. It was one among many pagan customs which were absorbed into the Christian Christmas festival as the early church extended its influence over country life.
I see
The wood of the ash tree has the unusual property of burning brightly when it is still green. In the old mythology, the ash was the tree of life, and at midwinter, quantities of liquor would be consumed in drinking toasts as the ashen faggot burned.
In December,
The very word wassail is a toast. In the Old Norse language, it meant literally, be healthy. Something of this significance can still be traced in the landlord's free Christmas punch, but the main emphasis of Ashen Faggot Night in Dunster long ago shifted to the singing of the village's own local carols.
By the fireside stands his foot and sings, but he who blows his hands, not so gay a carol brings. Let us by the fire ever higher, sing until the night expires, sing until the night expires. We wish you a Merry Christmas, we wish you a Merry Christmas, we wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and a Happy New Year, and a Happy New Year. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy
Circle around, lads, circle around, circle around. Two of you that way. Right up, come on, right up.
It's the 26th of December, St. Stephen's Day, and near Listowel in County Kerry, the Wren Boys have come out for the day to rouse the country from its Christmas lassitude with songs, dance and stirring music.
Hiya, Paul Cassette. Who's there for it? Jimmy and Massey and
The Wren Boys derive their name from the custom of hunting the wren, which is still remembered in Wales as well as Ireland. The wren was regarded as the king of the birds. In Ireland, he was hunted down to be suspended from a furze bush, which was carried at the head of the Wren Boys' procession as they made their way across the countryside, visiting farms and villages, till, at the end of the day, they would bury him, with all the ceremony befitting a king. The music and the costumes are all that remain of the old hunting the wren, and the ostensible motive for the visits to farms is now a collection for charity. But the occasion is as hearty as ever.
Well, Charlotte, we're happy. Now, lads, if you can make it well, we'll collect the door.
Years ago, the families who donated money, or more likely drink, were presented with a feather of the wren in exchange. And it's said that by the end of the day, exhausted groups of wren boys could be seen staggering through the dusk, bearing totally bald wrens before them.
Bye now, see you again next year.
The final call is at the Quiet Man Bar, where the captain of the Wren Boys calls for attention with a chant which still recalls, the wren, the king of all birds.
Okay. The wren, the king of all birds. St. Stephen's Day he was cutting the furs. Up with the kettle and down with the pan. We are here to gather some money for the wren. Right. Music. Now we are Matt for the company. Come on, Matt. And we do more on.
And to round off the day, they persuade Jack Carroll to give them The Boys of Banashrada, the ballad of an Irish exile recalling the friends of his childhood who went a-hunting for the wren.
When the town climbed the mountain and looked upon the sea, in waking time or sleeping is there I'd long to be, to walk again the kindly streets where first my life began, with the boys in Banashrada, a-hunting
Good man, Jack.
we'd called us out, we roamed about to hunt the small Droidine. We searched for boars in every forest, from Litter to Dunedin. We jumped for joy beneath the sky, life held no printer or plan. We boys in Banashrada, hunting a Parson. And now the child in foreign soil, where they have gone their way, deep in the heart of London town, or over in Broadway. Sure I am left to sing their deeds and praise them while I can. The boys of Banashrada, hunting a Parson.
Boxing Day morning at Marshfield in Gloucestershire. The parade of the old-time paper boys, the dozen characters of the Marshfield Mummers play. It's likely that their paper costumes developed from earlier disguises of leaves or grass, and the play itself from a distant folk drama which acted out the death and rebirth of the natural world each winter. The words of the play in their passage from generation to generation have been garbled into doggerel nonsense, without ever quite losing their underlying sense of ritual purpose.
Oh yes, oh yes, oh yes. I have much pleasure in introducing the celebrated Martian mummers, the old-time paper boys. God save the Queen.
In comes I, old Father Christmas. Christmas or Christmas not. I hope old Father Christmas will never be forgot. Christmas comes but once a year, then we generally get good cheer. Roast beef, plum pudding, and a mince pie. Who likes that better than King William and I? Aye! Rome, Rome, a gallant room, I say. If little man John is in this room, let him step this way.
In comes I, little man John. If anyone defy me, let him come on. Cut me and slay me as small as the dust, and send me to Jamaica to be made into mince pie crust. Room, room, a gallant room, I say. If King William is in the room, let him step this way.
In walks I, King William, a man of courage and bold. With my sword and spear all in my hands, I gained 3 crowns of gold. I fought the fiery dragon and brought him to the slaughter. And by the means of that, I gained the hand of the Queen of Europe's daughter. Me and 4 more slew 7 score and gained a victory on a British man of war. But thy mind's high, my mind's bold, thy blood's hot, I'll quickly make it cold. Room, room, a gallant room, I say. If Jack Phoenix is in this room, let him step this way.
My name is not Jack Phoenix, my name is Dr. Phoenix, a noble doctor. I can cure more than any man can. Bring me an old woman, 7 years dead, 7 years lying in her grave. 1 pill from me, and this gallant boy will rise again.
What's thy fee, doctor?
£10 is my fee. For 15 I'll take of thee to set this lad free.
Work thy will.
I have a little bottle down by my side filled with the old English turpentine. I place a drop on his lips, a drop on his thigh. Arise, arise, little man John. I long to see thee stand. Open thine eyes and look around. I'll take thee by the hand. Room, room, a gallant room, I say. If Saucy Jack is in the room, let him step this way.
In walks I, Saucy Jack, my wife and family, at me back. Out of 8, I have but 5, and half of they be starved alive. Some on the parish and some at home. Where I go, the rest must come. Make room, I say. If Temporary Net is in this room, let him step this way.
In walks I, Temporary Net, with my big head and my little wit. My head is big, my body small. I'm the biggest rough amongst them all. My head is hard as iron, my body hard as steel. My trousers touch my ankle bone. Pray, doctor, come and fill.
Ha ha, I certainly feel something hard. You're a proper blackguard.
Room, room, a gallant room, I say. If Father Beelzebub is in this room, let him step this way.
In comes I, old Father Beelzebub. On my shoulder, I carry my club, and in my hand my money pan. What do you think of me for a jolly old man? A little of your Christmas ale would make us boys dance and sing. A little of your money in our pockets would be a jolly fine thing. Ladies and gentlemen, sit down at your ease and give us what you please.
Peace of a noble Welshman, I heard the people say, as I rode up to London all on St. David's Day. Fa-la-la, 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 did I go? Hi, 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 the people cry, will concern a king, seated on a nanny goat just like a Christmas king. Fa-la-la, 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 did I go?
The week after Christmas, the Vale of Glamorgan and the South Wales valleys are haunted by a figure out of Celtic mythology. Accompanied by a motley crew of revellers, Mary Lwyd, the Grey Mare or Grey Mary, descends on isolated farms to exact tribute in the form of hospitality. This is New Year's night at Cefn Llwyd, in the hills above Abertridor. In theory, a household can refuse entry to Mary Lwyd and turn her away. But the ostler, the sergeant, the Betsy, and the rest of her crew know all the tricks they need to get past locked doors. The Mary's song is a form of challenge to those inside the house to compete with her in improvising further verses to the song. Should the Mary fail to counter a reply, in theory, she will have to go away. So if the house party have a shrewd idea who their challengers are outside the door, they will throw in a few personal jibes to add spice to the exchanges and give themselves the advantage of surprise.
Hiu a teca o ferched mi ranta, ar gorau am ddiota, ar gorau am ddiota, ar gorau am ddiota, gael chweled. Mae'n rhaid I yn rhewi a randal yn meddwi. Mae'n rhaid I yn rhewi a randal yn meddwi. So'i geiriau fenodli, so'i geiriau fenodli, so'i geiriau fenodli os heno. O teiml y gwrw, a digon y gwrw, eich meddwi yn ilw, eich meddwi yn ilw, eich meddwi yn ilw yn ysgafon. A ddowch i'r golau y geli, I weld y wasel yn ddiaeth, nid o'n drws Hei! Sa'n yn gwych a'i gwmni, yn ôl a drydloedd mai eto rhywbeth gwych wastad gondrad Christi. Good evening.
Under cover of the rough and tumble, all the Mary's companions are able to slip into the house and join the private party inside, where the shouts and roars of fighting off the monster soon give way to cries of Happy New Year.
Right, so what do we learn from that? We learn If you go to Wales on New Year's Eve, you've got to have a folk group inside the door, just in case. Have your harp ready. As I said, we're going to carry on with that in January. Doc, did you want to say anything about this one?
Yeah, I think you're right in your comment there. I mean, it was the local folk club that brought out that Mari. I was also intrigued that John Tams actually said Mari Lloyd. I mean, I spent years cultivating a Welsh Lloyd, and then when I got to know better, it's actually Mari Lloyd. It's LLWYD, which is Lloyd in Welsh, of course. But the film was shot 76 through to 77. It was broadcast in late 77. The stable, if you like, the BBC stable was Barry Gavin, who had done a wonderful programme in 1972. So it was quite a space between then and this one. And in fact, Colin Rose actually sent me a edited version, a rough edit with time code, which I actually got in the archive. So if anyone ever wants to watch that, it's quite interesting. Slightly different to the final version, of course, but no, great.
Anyone apart from me remember watching it in 1977?
I don't think I had a television in 1977.
Actually, it's interesting that the sad note was that I remember the Marshfield Paperboys telling me later that they were very distressed about the cameraman coming into their circle. You know, it happened without permission, and for many years after that, they were saying, you know, that was really upsetting. And actually, for some of the old boys, they felt it spoilt the magic, you know, because it broke the circle. Such is folklore.
I was also impressed by John Tams with quite a posh Derbyshire accent.
That's what I said.
Jill said, yeah.
Not the way he talks these days.
Doc used to do the same in all the old footage. He has a posh voice as well.
Right, Carol's got a hand up. Carol? You're muted, Carol. Still muted, Carol.
Right, managed it. Yeah, just to say, I was amazed by that Welsh one because it's definitely staged, because I knew two of the people in it who I hadn't seen since I was at university, and that was a long time ago. The fiddler used to play for, I used to belong to the Welsh Folk Dance Club, or the Folk Dance Club at Cardiff University. We did a lot of Welsh dances. He used to play for us, and he had played for Welsh dancing all his life and was Welsh speaking. And the tall lady, her name was Maya Roberts, and I used to share digs with her. Now, her father was Professor of Welsh at Aberystwyth University. So obviously this is a stage thing, but very authentic, I'm sure, and very interesting. And I love the Marshfield Mummers one as well. So fascinating. Thank you.
I just say that when we filmed the Future Things Past in 1984-85, we did more of a real Mari Lloyd. And the exciting thing was we were tempted to put the subtitles of the text on the screen, but when we got it translated, it really was, you know, attack on both sides, and it had things like, you know, this rather rich, wonderful language that you felt was you know, classic poetry and all the rest of it.
Yes.
Your sister's breath smells was one of them. And your rhubarb didn't grow very high this year. That was the level of the insults.
And I think it was very much geared towards the occasion and the people, you know, in the way that they all knew each other. They would say things relevant to that particular family as well, which might be lost if we didn't know it, you know.
The way to see the path from this video outward is to look at what it's become in Chepstow. And I don't know if anybody's been up there, but it's quite amazing. It's sort of like some sort of southern car meet with all kinds of Maris. Everybody in the town seems to have one on their shoulders somewhere. But it's gotten really big, and the technology has gotten fantastically overblown.
Well, I went to the first one at Chepstow, and it was quite low key. And there was the meeting of the English and the Welsh on the bridge, which was always
Right.
great fun. And then the Maoris tended to go off and do their thing, and then the wassailers tended to do their thing. But this was very much an apple wassailing tradition, which is not Gloucestershire; it's Somerset or Herefordshire. Whereas Gloucestershire, as I'm sure you all probably know, was a house visiting ceremony, much like the Wren Boys in Ireland. So, and that's the Chepstow thing has really developed into a big event now, as many wassails have.
Yeah.
But it tends to be the apple wassail that people go to because it's fun. And the house visiting element, I think, has got quite lost in many places.
Well, it's a house threshold crossing, entering somebody else's place. But the Chepstow electronic is amazing. I've used some of it on my second Mari. I should have a third one coming out this year if we get my act together. We always have a Mari Mindwise in our WhatsApp. We'll see some videos of it. First one. They're fun.
I think the Wren Boys, the Irish Wren Boys, get the prize for the best hats.
Yeah.
In any custom. I think they're wonderful. Derek, your turn.
Apart from this.
Yeah, I was just I noticed that Katie House was asking about whether it was available. Is it on YouTube or anything?
Yes, it is. We'll circulate the link with the meeting notes along with the books that we've mentioned. So we'll pick up that sort of thing.
Okay, thank you.
I've forgotten how to raise my hand on the computer, so I had to do it.
Go ahead.
I was going to say that it's quite interesting. This was a BBC film originally.
Yes.
They used some film from the west of Ireland there, because they don't normally include the Republic of Ireland in such things, do they? But just to say, I did put it in the chat, but I know that the Wren Boys out on the Dingle Peninsula particularly are still really busy on St Stephen's Day. They had to have, crash barriers in place for the crowds that come and so on. But it's interesting that John Tams was out there because, of course, I think 1976 was also the year he was out there recording Clare concertina players and singers and musicians out there. So presumably he was the one who had the contact out there at the time.
Yeah, when we show the other parts, the parts 3 and 4, 5, then you'll see all the credits at the end as to who was involved. So, but you can search for it on YouTube. Just search for "Here We Come a Wassailing" TV series. I think it was that I found it with. Well, we're running out of time.
Could I just intrude very quickly?
Yes.
As the Beelzebub character, there's still time to buy the CD that we produced for Macmillan Cancer Support. Jill's already paid in over £1,000, which is great news. So we'll put something in the chat later where you can get hold of it. But I think Steve Gardam is also one of the keen supporters of this. He's still there.
Can you read out the title, Doc? Because your hand was shaking and we didn't see.
Yeah,
I'll
it's Mike and Ann Waterson and Jill Peard, who were called Michael and Gillo.
Right. Okay.
So rare recordings from 30 odd years ago.
Yeah.
But it's doing very, very well. So thank you for that.
Yeah, send us the link, Doc. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else want to say anything? Thank you in particular this evening to Martin and his wizardry on the computer there, and for all his work during the year actually running these meetings. They wouldn't happen without Martin and Zoom. So I hope you all have a good Christmas or happy holidays, and we'll see you on the 7th of January. Thank you for coming, everybody.
Merry Christmas.
Wassail or whatever.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Thank you.
Nollag Kennel.
Roud.
Happy Christmas, everybody.
Happy Christmas.
Time to make mince carts.
do you want to sign out?